Today I'm going to show you exactly how I made over $3,000 in less than a week while I was creating content for YouTube and my podcast. Welcome back to Flipping Cars, and as I said, I'm going to show you exactly what I did to actually flip a car and make over $3,000 in less than a week. The reason I'm showing you this is because I was able to quit my full-time corporate job, which made me miserable, to pursue my passion, my love for cars, and flipping them for a profit. And I just want to pay forward what I've been able to gain over the last 2 years, making it full-time and supporting my family that way. It's my way of giving back. This car I found while I was making content for YouTube and my podcast. So I'm gonna deep dive into how I found it, and one of the key elements for you as a flipper, if you're just getting started, is to always look for deals. If this is something that you're looking for a part-time or to replace your full-time income, you are always gonna have to look for deals because they will always appear, and you've got to be ready to seize that opportunity. And that's what happened with me. While I was uploading and editing content, I'm always looking for the next deal, whether it's on my phone or on my computer. On my last video, I showed you a little bit about the car that I'm going to be showing you today and the results of how it ended up looking, because I think it's so important for you to understand that when you're flipping cars and you want to maximize your profit, how do you look for those deals? How do you know exactly what to sell them for and how to recondition them too? So let's deep dive into that and let's look at this car. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and you can follow us on youtube.com/flippingcars. While I was editing videos and creating content for my podcast and for YouTube, I found this car because I'm always searching for deals. And that's one of the things I just discussed, was really just finding those deals, but also if you're always looking for them, trust me, the deals are there to be had. It's a 2006 Honda Civic, and it's actually an EX. And as you can see, when I saw it pop up for only $2,500, this was probably maybe 11 minutes as the posting was done, and I immediately jumped on it. And as you can see, as soon as I saw it, I knew that there was potential. Looking at this car, I mean, it just looks pretty solid. It doesn't look like it had any type of accidents or major issues on it. It just looked a little bit dirty, and this is normal for a car this age with the hazy headlights, and it was just dirty. And the more I looked at it, the more I liked it. It was 144,000 miles, and which is very hard to come by on a 2006 Honda Civic, which a lot of them are completely used, abused, and over 200,000 miles. Now, there's a reason for that, because they're very dependable cars and they're very popular. I started looking at these pictures, and the more I saw, the more I liked it. A lot of the times you get 1, 2, or 3 pictures on there and you can't really see what the potential is, but still, for this price range, I knew there was a deal to be had if the car checked off all the boxes for me. It was getting a little bit of water coming into the car when it rained heavy, and I knew exactly what it was from experience. Seeing that sunroof there, I knew that the drains were clogged, and that was one of the first things that I took care of when I purchased this car. On my last video, I kind of took you through this car a little bit, so I'm just reviewing pretty quickly what I saw when I got there. When I saw the car, I saw that it had not gotten too much water into it, so I wasn't concerned about it sitting and getting moldy for a very long time. This was just dirt, and it was just grimy and dirty, which I like to see because I know I can clean that up. And if you're flipping a car and you see these kind of things with it, maybe you're sending it out to your favorite detailer, but you're working that within the profit that you're gonna make. So now, after I saw the car, I immediately started talking about a few things. So besides the AC system not working, needing work and all that stuff, which he properly described in here, and the leaking of the sunroof, he was asking $2,500 or best reasonable offer. I got to know him a little bit, and after test driving the car. I knew the AC wasn't working. The interior just needing a good clean up. The whole car did, actually. After getting to know them a little bit, I really talked about the extra things that weren't discussed in the posting or in person there when I was asking him about the car, like the brakes and the vibrating of the engine, which I knew was an engine mount. I was able to negotiate this down to $2,000, believe it or not, and I took it right there and then. But when I show you the results of how I finished this car, I was just amazed at it, and I knew the potential was there. So in my mind, I had already seen the car. Even though I looked at it the way it is right now, I had already seen this car finished in my mind. I know what it could be turned into, and it was a beautiful car when I was done with it. If you'd like a copy of the Flipping Cars tracker that I have that helps me make money on every single deal, then I'll be happy to share that with you. I'll leave a link in the description below so that you can download the tracker for free. So I use that for every single car, and that's how I know to manage my expenses and know exactly how much profit I make on every deal, like I said. And so on this particular car, I made $3,200, and that is a net profit. This is the tracker that I was wanting to show you. Here you can see exactly how I track every single deal to make sure that I make money every time. So besides on this expense tracker, which I call the Flipping Cars tracker, you can punch in your purchase price right there. I purchased this car for $2,000. The AC compressor I was able to source at a local salvage yard for $60. That with a couple of other small miscellaneous parts. I actually was able to get like the floor mat for free because the guy that was there just gave it to me from him recognizing me there, and he thought it was just, you know, a silly little item, and so that was an awesome win. And you're going to continue creating those relationships like I mentioned before, and you're going to see all the value you get out of it like I've been seeing. The engine mount was only $42.79. That's with tax and everything. Yes, I tracked everything on here. And I had to, you know, recharge the air conditioning. So with Freon and all this stuff and testing, I wasted a little bit, but I got it going. It was only just under $47 for that. And I also got the cabin filter, which was only about $15. But the fact of the matter is, so many people do not replace the cabin filter, and that's why, number one, your air vents might either have a musty smell or they have a certain smell to them, and I want to get rid of that. I also want it for the air to be nice and strong when you turn on that air conditioning, and sometimes that air filter can affect it too. So I did the oil change as well. That was about $35. And I did that myself, but you can add on another $10-15 if you decide to take it somewhere. I definitely recommend going to somewhere like Walmart, because when you have the super centers like I do in my area, they're generally very cost effective for oil changes. I got a brand new serpentine belt while I was changing the air compressor. That was just one of the things that you have to take off anyways, so I decided to put a brand new one on there. And then the headliner was only $125. After I spoke to the gentleman, he gave me a small discount to just continue business rolling, and he really was interested in what I was doing. I mentioned to him about the YouTube channel, then the podcast, and he really seemed to like that. So between getting the title for this car and some miscellaneous things that I had to do was another $60, and you can see the sold amount was $5,600. Now, when I went to go post this car, I thought maybe I'll post it for $5,500, but I saw that the estimated value on the actual Facebook Marketplace, which has, like, when you start posting cars, you can see that there's a Kelley Blue Book value associated to it, and I saw that the high end was about $58 and change. So by posting it for $56, I gave myself another $100 because I thought it was going to be a good showing for somebody looking at a potentially $5,800 car for $5,600. So that's another great tip right there. Now you can see the total profit for this was $3,200. and that's 134% of the money that I initially invested. That's my return on investment, and I like that just because that's something individualized. That's something that I enjoy seeing, the return on investment that I have for every car. And as I told you, you can punch in your trade-in value, you can punch in the private seller or the retail value for you, they also categorize it on Kelley Blue Book as fair market value. So that's what I punched in here, which turned out to be a little bit better when I put the vehicle ad out. And here I just keep this graph so that I can continue to just take a glance at what the market is doing for me. I'm not saying that what's going on in the car industry is not going to affect me as a flipper or you as a flipper, but I like to see in comparison what the values are doing on Kelley Blue Book versus what I actually get for the vehicle. And I keep a mental note of that because if whenever in the future I find another car that has the same parameters as this one, I can start saying, hey, you know, last time I sold this car, I got way more than what Kelley Blue Book was actually intending for me to sell the car at, or what the market demand was on Kelley Blue Book. There was a higher demand on Facebook Marketplace, and that's what I want to show you. These are small things that add up to big profits. And if you really enjoyed what you saw here today, definitely hit that like and subscribe button so that you can stay up to date on everything that I'm showing as far as flipping cars and making big profits. And you can follow us on youtube.com/flipping cars.